que nos vimos ahora, finalmente nos logramos juntar todas. Tenía muchas ganas de platicar con todas ustedes porque últimamente me he estado sintiendo muy extraña y pensé que quizá con la ayuda de ustedes pues podría resolver este problemita. Últimamente he traído unos calores que dije, voy a ver qué piensan mis amigas.
You know, I'm glad we're together, friend, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I went through the same thing. I'm a little bit older than you, so I think I went through it first, but we're here with our friends who, good for us, also happen to be doctors. And they know a little bit about what we start feeling once we turn 40. And it's incredible, right? People don't know that you go through these changes, or maybe they do and they ignore it. Like, what do you guys find? What do you ladies find when people walk into your office?
I always tell them, welcome to the club. So, yeah.
Salud por esa.
Salud,
Yeah.
salud por eso. Yes.
So, it happens. It happened and
But about what age does it start? This is what do you guys see?
depends.
I would say average 45-ish, but it can happen anytime before or after. Average age of menopause is probably 51, but those changes can happen 7-10 years prior to you actually going
really?
to the, yeah.
So
So
when
you start
you're-
with the hot flashes, the night sweats.
¿Qué tan temprano? How early can menopause start? La menopausia,
As
¿qué
early
tan
as
temprano?
40. Like some people even
Okay.
earlier.
Okay.
It's unusual.
¿Y cuáles son de los síntomas principales
Yeah.
que vamos a sentir? Porque yo dije, ¿estará pasándome esto o no? Aparte de los calores, o sea, como que empiezas también a ver...
Que no aguanta a tu esposa.
Todo es cambiante, todo.
Todo.
O sea, hay veces que dice uno, híjole, creo que ahorita no me soporto ni yo sola. O
Yeah.
sea, ¿qué pasa? Te cambia el carácter, te cambia todo.
Mood swings, hot flashes.
La dormida,
You don't
despertándote
sleep,
a
You have to go
medianoche.
and change your pajamas.
Sí.
and
Oh,
it's just,
You wake
yeah.
up drenched, irritable,
Sweats.
unable to really tolerate people well. A little bit of depression symptoms. So I would say a lot of people come in with kind of mood decrease, and so they're inappropriately put on antidepressants at our age.
Oh.
And so I've seen that quite a bit where I'm like, no, I don't really think you're depressed. I think it's a hormone imbalance.
Really? So sometimes, like, when you start feeling those shifts, and like you said, the irritability, things that used to not bother you,
Right.
like, all
Your
of a sudden...
fuse is that short
Yes.
with your kids, your spouse,
Oye,
whoever.
olores,
Olores.
smells that you're like,
permanent PMS.
A permit, so...
A grouch.
But I didn't know.
The Grinch.
It can be misdiagnosed.
I would think at our age, that
Yeah.
should be the primary thing on your mind as far as a diagnosis when you go to a physician for any reason. At this point, it can cause so many fluctuations in any organ system. So when you go to your doctor, that should be first and foremost on your mind as a possibility.
And so if you regulate, and you specialize in hormones and anti-aging, OBGYN, and your internal medicine, so you ladies know a lot about this. But if you regulate your hormones, will that fix a lot of those mood swings and like that irritability that we tend to feel?
sí, ¿cómo es que puede la gente tratar la menopausia hoy en día? Porque, bueno, volviendo a las
Yeah.
temporadas de las abuelitas,
Oh, yeah.
o sea, la gente pues no existía lo que existe hoy
Yeah.
en día, ¿no? O sea,
Right.
¿cómo?
We ignored it.
Well,
Back in our
exacto.
mom's days, they
Every
just ignored
patient
it.
is different.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Claro.
like, you have to see what they agree to and what they want to do.
Yeah.
Not everybody want hormone replacement. They have family history of cancer. They're scared. So you have to address what are the main symptoms and what do they want to fix in their life. Don't you agree,
And
Jen?
I
that,
agree.
you said something key right now, because a lot of people think hormones, cancer. How safe is that? O sea, si yo digo ahorita, ok, si quiero empezar a tratarme, ¿debo de tener ese temor a cáncer?
So the 2002 WHI study gave us a lot of fear as far as hormone replacement. They associated hormones with cancer, and so from that point forward, we've kind of been in a tailspin trying to see where that information is true and where it's false. And the research shows that it's not true whatsoever. And so hormones are not to be feared. They don't cause cancer, especially bioidentical. So those are the hormones that have the least side effect risk because they don't have a synthetic component to them.
And as long as you do your preventive care, like meaning you get your mammogram
Right.
every year, you get your colonoscopy every 10 years, you check your blood work, and you make sure that, you know, like you follow the proper regimen and the proper care in order to alleviate the symptoms of menopause.
We don't have to get old. It used to be, even, you see that meme, and I know I talked about it earlier, ese meme que anda, de que 50-year-olds back 30 years ago and 50-year-olds now, and just
There's
because
no
we have
comparison.
40, we age better, but with a hormone replacement, like you were saying, taking care of yourself, we're aging better. Why do you
And
girls
it's
think
a
it is?
whole process. Hormone replacement is a piece of the puzzle for sure, but it's wellness, it's exercise, it's eating well, it's balancing everything. So there's not a one-stop shop that I can give you a magic pill or a magic pellet or a magic whatever, and you're going to feel and look phenomenal. There's so many other aspects that need to be balanced in order to live your optimal life.
Our particular, I don't use hormone replacement myself, but I use supplements. You know, because I have a big family risk of cancer and some other issues that, for me is a little bit in the.
But there's so many things we can do.
Yes,
It's not, I mean,
absolutely.
compared
It's
to
one
10,
small
20
piece
years,
of the puzzle.
yeah, compared to 20, 30 years ago. And so your ladies are beautiful. I know your ages. I'm proud. I'm 49, I'll be 50 this year. But I mean, I'm fighting aging every step of the way. Sí, o sea, porque no nos tenemos que hacer viejas. But I remember, because you guys are my friends, you told me you don't have to age just because you hit a
Right.
certain number. Like, we get to choose how we feel and how we
Exactly.
look.
And I mean, that's the real thing, is how you feel and optimizing your health for the longevity.
Yeah.
As we're living the 80s to 90s, we're no longer, needing to spend the last half of our lives not looking and feeling our best. So there's multiple modalities that can help you do that.
Like I always tell my patients, age is a relative number.
Exactly.
You can be 60 and look like 30, and you can be 30
20
and
and
look
look
like
like-
60.
That's
Wow.
true.
It
Oh,
all
see.
depends.
Cheers to that. Y todas
Right.
conocemos. We
Sí,
all
sí.
know.
Woo.
Cheers. Cheers, ladies.
Oigan, y hay que vernos a los ojos.
Yes. Oh,
¿No?
yeah.
Porque si
yeah.
no,
So-
7
no
años de mal
funciona,
sexo.
So let's say,
No, everything but bad sex.
you know, how many, no bad sex. How many of you have heard, I mean, I know, like, we hear 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds and, oh my God, I'm turning 30. Oh my God, I'm turning 40. It's not a life sentence, but what are the key things that you ladies find, and you too, Karyna, all of us, that help you age better? Because it's lifestyle, like you said, but what are some of the key things that you think women can do to just feel better?
Diet,
Okay.
exercise, like a skin regimen. You have to you have to take care of your leather.
Right?
La piel, que no te cuelgue.
Smoking is a big one. Excessive alcohol is a big one. Sleep is a big one. That's where all the reparative processes really happen. So if you're not sleeping well, all your reparative processes are just not gonna function optimally.
And your supplements. And your preventive medicine.
Right.
How soon should you start supplements? I started early because, again, I've been working on my anti-aging since.
And that's where you really have to start. If you start when you're already not feeling and looking well, it's
Yeah.
going to be that much harder. But when you start early and prevent things, that's the key. We don't want to treat disease. We want to prevent disease from happening.
Y Karyna, tú estabas hablando de esta, ahorita está mucho en las noticias. It's a lot in the news right now. It's the talk. It's like hormones, anti-aging. But tell me about the process. Someone walks in your office, whether it's you, Mariaelena, or you, Genevieve, and they walk in your office and they say, I'm not feeling well. What are some of the things that people can expect or women can expect, and what should they ask? And then what are some of the tests that you look into to figure out and pinpoint what's going on with them?
So from my standpoint, most women walk in with fatigue, not feeling super well, and libido issues. And so automatically, I want to know your blood panel. Where can I improve things across the board? So hormones are, like I said, a small part of it, but can I improve your vitamin D? Can I improve somewhere else in the panel? Different things cause different symptoms.
Let's go back to fatigue. What do we mean when we say fatigue? Because fatigue can mean
Right.
Oh,
different
that's right.
And I
things
guess
for different people.
it's all relative to the person who you ask. So for example, Mariaelena, if she were to be fatigued, it might be like she yawned in the middle of the day. For me, fatigue is if I need a 3 o'clock nap. So everyone's, different in their expectation and what they are used to. So it's fatigue for them.
So
what's
I've-
your norm and where are you now and how can I improve you back to where you were when you were younger?
I felt the 3 o'clock drop,
That's me.
but I can't just go. Like, I have to go pick up my son to
Exactly,
school. I have
but-
to feed him. I have to do homework with him. I have a lot of activities to do after school with him. So it's not like I can just go home and take a nap.
Right.
But I've never been a napper anyway. Like, if there's daylight, I can't take it. Like, I can't go to
That's me.
sleep. I'm like, no, it's no. I'm like chickens.
That's
Like,
not-
it's daylight, like I'm
It's
awake.
happening, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, so
I felt it at 45. At like you feel it. You're like, oh my God, I'm dying in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You just
Exactly.
feel so tired.
Just to
It's
get
coffee,
Yes,
something,
yes.
Right,
I
like
started
an
doing
afternoon
caffeine.
coffee, and I don't drink afternoon coffee, and that's how I felt. Like
I
I
don't
had to
even
have
drink coffee in the morning.
Imagínate,
No, esta
no.
tiene energía que le cesta el Energizer Bunny aquí. I noticed that. That's right, with sleep, and you know what else I mean with energy and sleep. Because I've
Sleep.
never had issues sleeping, and about 45, I was like, I'm
That's
exhausted,
another complaint. I
but
wake
I
up at 3
could
in the
not
morning
sleep.
and I can't go back to sleep.
I just
Yeah.
couldn't
Like-
fall asleep.
I started getting that. The 3 o'clock, 3:30.
And sleep, like I said,
I'm
is hard.
sweating.
And,
Oh,
yeah, and you
yes.
wake up with your shirt
Yes.
all
And
wet.
then I
Yes.
tell them like lose the
One
fan.
leg out.
You
One
have
leg
to
out.
tell her you're at like 60 and your poor
Yes.
spouse is
Yeah.
Oh
dying.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had that issue. I had that issue last summer where my husband was like, "Enough!
It's a freezer in here."
I'm freezing," and
Your
I'm like,
husband
"Okay,
is with
put
a
the
little
winter,
baby.
yeah, put
It's
the
all
winter
scarfed up.
pajamas on."
Like-
You'd be like, "No, it's
Oh,
summer.
onesie
Just
pajamas.
uncover yourself."
I
And I'm
know.
like, "This is too hot," and
Yeah.
he's like, "Did you not see the bill, like the light bill, how crazy it came, because of your
I
hot
don't care, I'm
flashes?"
hot.
Absolutely.
So it's like crazy. Now, another thing that I noticed, gay weight.
That's for sure a complaint.
Oh, yeah.
Waking.
Let's talk.
Waking.
Yep.
But I tell you what I tell my patients.
A ver.
Okay, number one, yes, metabolism slow down, but as well as your activity level.
That's true.
You used to be like on the go, go, and then all of a sudden you spend more time sitting. If you're gonna go to a grocery store, you wanna park right in front.
Right, those
you know,
extra
like
steps help. Every
so
little bit helps.
that little activity, it's always like it's a tank. This is an analogy I use to my patients. It's a tank. What you put in needs to go out, otherwise overflow.
Right.
So just pay attention to that. I mean, we still have to keep moving.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
And I think a lot of people in their minds eat the same, do the same workout regimen, have the same activity. But I'm like, give me a journal. Give me a journal of exactly what your food is, exactly what your activity is, and they'll see that it has changed. So although I can help in some aspects, there's still lifestyle changes or lifestyle,
right.
What you're accustomed to that's really going to help keep that weight management reasonable.
It's good to know that you can counter it, and there's things that you can do.
But it's an active counter, so it's not just going to happen because you think about it. Like it has to be an active effort, because if it's not conscious on your mind, it's going to effervesce.
Yeah. And like you all look beautiful, but I know you actively take steps to really take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Do you find also, and I hear it from friends, I mean, my son's 28 now and out of the house, but moms, tienes un hijo chiquito. And so do you, Jennifer. I mean, we're busy with taking care of everyone else, la mamá, el esposo, if we work. And so we tend to ignore ourselves and sometimes put ourselves last. And then we feel those things, nos sentimos cansada, libido. Let's talk about sex drive, because women don't like to talk about that. But all
Right.
that stuff.
That's a main complaint
And
in my
we-
GYN office.
Is
I
it?
mean, big time. Yeah.
Sex drive?
Mine
Sex
too.
drive. Big time. That's a huge complaint. And so, unfortunately, there's not a magic pill like there is for men that women can take right prior to sex.
There isn't?
There is not.
There's not
Viagra.
There's not.
There is not a Viagra.
Women
for
Viagra.
They have one medicine, but it has,
It hasn't been approved yet.
it's been approved.
Oh,
but
it
it
has?
has limited efficacy and other risk factors.
Okay, so we won't even talk about that.
So, no.
So
But
what do
there
you,
is no magic pill.
so what do you say?
So that's when I really want to check where your hormones at, where everything is at, kind
Yeah.
of get more in depth, because I can give you X, Y, or Z, but if it's a relationship problem, there's other things that
I'm
can't
not a
fix.
therapist.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just say, be a good actress.
Bueno, pues sí, es que a
De todo
veces
hay, de
de
todo
todo
hay,
hay. But women don't like to talk about it. And especially Latina women, es la verdad. O sea, lo hablamos entre amigas, we talk about it when we're sitting there, but it's something
I
that
think
we're...
that's taboo amongst friends, but I would think
Yeah.
in our practices it's a little different because they're so comfortable. That's why they come to us.
Yeah.
We're women, we're of their age group. I would
But
think
sometimes you have to just.
you do,
You do?
but you ask the
Yeah.
right questions. I'm just like, oh, okay, so da. Like, that is true. You have to kind of instigate the conversation, but I
Do
think
you-
we're both pretty skilled at that.
Do you think that it also has to do a lot with like the age the patients are? Because maybe nowadays, like the new generations are more open to talking about different things versus, the grandmas or even like
yeah.
maybe my parents, like still like that age group are still
Where it's
more
more
like
taboo.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our
Do you think-
moms and our grandmas no hablaban de eso. De eso no se habla.
You'd be surprised. I know
Really?
some older ladies that are living
Freaks
their best
in the
lives.
sheets?
Okay.
There are freaks in the sheet?
I
They
have
would
a
put
lady.
most sex people's lives to shame. I'm like,
I
wow.
have a lady that she was like 82. I say, do you want to do a mammogram? I say, of course, doctor. I say, that's the only time that I get my chichis to be taught.
Oh, wow.
Prissy, did you make sure it was a male tech or no? Maybe not. Maybe.
Oh, that's another story.
That's hilarious.
You know, I have like gay guys. I say, I wanna. Well, it's too much information.
Yes. Let's talk. We're talking
But
about
on
women's
that
issues.
same-
Women's
on that
issues.
same note,
That's a different show, Mariaelena.
Okay.
I saw a big increase in STDs among 60 and above.
You're kidding.
60 and above. Oh, wow.
Just because they're getting back on the scene, whatever they're
They're getting back on the train, and they don't know that now we're in the era of STDs.
So yes,
You're
so
kidding, and they're-
Although the recommendation is to stop testing, at
Yeah.
a certain age, I test everybody in this
You
community.
do
Absolutely.
if you're over 60.
I test everybody. Period.
And
if
so
they'll allow it.
Oh no, I don't want to cause marriage problems.
I do.
If they test chlamydia positive and
I'm
they,
like,
their
I want to
husband
treat those
is
people,
like,
but I have to operate, and that's no offense. I test everybody.
you
who
test
will let me.
everybody, and so does that become a question of ¿Dónde andaba tu esposo? I mean, that's a whole nother. You're
Yeah,
not a
that's a
marriage
whole nother
therapist. That's a
topic.
whole different show. Make sure you tune into other episodes. We'll discuss
We
that.
might want to have another expert on
Yeah, we'll
that
have a
one.
different topic. We're talking about, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so-
Me dejaste con el ojo cuadrado.
Una pregunta importante.
You're welcome.
this is funny.
A ver, ¿qué vas a decir?
No, quería regresar un poquito hablar un poquito de la mamografía.
Sí.
¿Cuál es la edad adecuada para empezar a acudir a hacerte una mamografía? Y bueno, son varias cosas que tenemos que tomar en cuenta también. Hoy en día los seguros es algo diferente, ¿no? O sea,
Yeah, but if your health,
claro, sí,
but
tienes,
it depends on
claro.
the family history. If you have family history of breast cancer or colon cancer, you have to, the age group is different. You know,
Ajá, ajá.
in
Might start
theory,
O sea, historial,
in
ajá.
theory is
Yeah.
40 for breast cancer, but to be honest, I've seen breast cancer at 30s.
As have I.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Um,
So the same with
So you
colon
really just have
cancer.
to use your clinical skill. I mean, like she said, you have to get your family history.
Yeah.
Do they feel a lump? Is it something out of the ordinary? So, although the recommendation is 40, you have to use your clinical judgment and always get those studies sooner should the situation arise.
And what she just asked is as we translate English Spanish, when should you start the mammogram? And you know what I found? I did a show, because Karyna and I have a background. We were graduated college together and did broadcasting together
Yes.
our anchor days. But, and especially in the Latina community, people don't get mammograms. It's one of the things
that's
that they don't think,
Right.
and it needs
And
to
their
start.
statement
Yes.
is that it's going to hurt. I'm like, 60
It-
seconds of hurting is far
It doesn't
better.
hurt.
It doesn't
It's a little
hurt.
uncomfortable, but
I
I'm saying
feel like it's
60
an
seconds
uncomfortable
to minutes of
situation, but
hurt
not-
is better than breast cancer hurt.
Absolutely. And
Think
it,
about how that hurts.
No,
Yeah.
and I always tell the patients, regardless of their age, number one, they want to have I don't need a mammogram. I'm over 70. I say, look, now people live longer.
Exactly.
You're very healthy. So if
That's
they
a good
find a
point.
little calcification, they take it out and you're cured.
Right.
Yeah.
But would you like to, that
And those-
calcification to go on and suffer?
Right. And those old recommendations are based on a life expectancy that used to not be to 80, 90, 100.
oh, yeah.
So we're living life so much longer.
Right.
So those are really, really outdated, and they should be best used by your clinical judgment.
And let's demystify that. Mammograms do not hurt. They're necessary. And I remember,
It's uncomfortable because you're going to undress in front of somebody that you don't know. And
It's the thing that you put
Yeah.
your
And-
armpits
but
I
that's
mean,
in
my
and it's
analogy
free.
is always like, can you imagine how hard a cancer hurts? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
breast cancer
Yeah.
a
hurts
couple
worse.
minutes of
Yes.
discomfort.
yeah.
Come on.
And it's
Absolutely.
necessary. And sometimes it's the only way you can detect early showings of cancer, right? You need it. By the time you feel it, you're already
And now they do
advanced.
3D and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so they do
Now,
a really
I
in-depth
get them
study.
every. I mean, I get them every year.
Every year.
And
Every
Yeah.
year.
your pap smears, everything. Go see your doctors. I mean, how?
Those maintenance exams are key.
Yeah.
Like we said, prevention is key. We're not trying to treat disease, we're trying to prevent it.
Yeah. Prevention is the key nowadays because as we talk about aging better. And so when you have women in your office, I text you all the time, tengo esto, tengo lo otro. But
I won't say what you text
I
me.
know, we joke about that. I send her, she's my OBGYN, so that I text her
All kinds of
stuff.
photographs. I'm like, oh heavens. Okay.
Get yourself a friend who's a doctor.
Right?
Get you
Find
two.
yourself a friend.
Find yourself a friend. I'm
An
just kidding.
OBGYN friend.
But do you still find women that are afraid to go in there and afraid to find out and they just ignore it?
Absolutely.
God, it's amazing to me in this
Yeah,
day and
They
age.
don't even come to the doctor.
Right? Like, they're super afraid. Or
And-
they know, like, they feel something abnormal and it hurts and it
And they
doesn't feel
ignore
right.
it.
And they're just afraid to go find out what that is.
I
That
can-
is huge.
I can understand. En la
It's
comunidad.
Like, they
sad.
almost know.
And it's sad when you have to drop the news.
For sure.
I don't sleep the night before.
Ah,
Really? Would you like another one? We'll take another one. Another round for everyone.
And those conversations are best had in person. They're difficult conversations.
They are.
So that's not something you want a medical assistant to call and tell your patient.
No. And,
So those are-
that's when you have to be like Latina.
Right, you
Very
have to
touchy,
come in
you're
and
gonna
you have
be
to hold their
fine.
hands and
Dios te va a
invite the
bendecir.
family in.
Yeah, no,
it's
just
a very
like-
different
Me
conversation.
encanta escuchar esto porque no siempre se escucha la sensibilidad
And it differs.
Yeah.
de parte de un médico al estar dando una noticia que no siempre va a ser positiva.
Right.
Right.
Y no pienso que no tienen nada contra el médico. Hay veces que la vida es tan ocupada y tienen que ver otro paciente y otro
That's
y otro.
right.
Y es difícil, pero el ver la sensibilidad y
Yeah.
sentirte en ese momento de recibir una noticia negativa, pues es como que te alienta un poquito de que te entiendan, ¿no? Me imagino.
Oh, claro. Te pongo un ejemplo. Cuando yo estaba entrenándome en residencia, yo estaba en UT Houston y estaba en el MD Anderson. La mamá de un amigo mío vino y le hicieron un bone marrow biopsy y resulta que tenía algo maligno, pero no tan maligno. Entonces yo le digo, llamo a mi amigo y le digo, oye, te voy a dar la noticia que yo la leí porque tenía acceso pero por favor, espérate que el doctor te dé la noticia, porque a lo mejor él te quiere apapachar y, you know.
Claro.
So I gave the news and then she goes to the doctor and it's just like, drop the news.
Yes.
Out.
There's
Out.
a different
Exacto,
sensitivity.
exacto.
Yo creo que
Sí.
con mujeres, ¿no? Do you find that women, I mean, and it's good to hear
some
tienes
men are
no.
different.
I would say some men are very cariñoso, if you will, but I think it's just our community.
Yeah. It's good to
The Hispanic
hear,
community
yeah.
has a different sensitivity
los
toward the
hispanos-
patient than most communities.
We have
I
that
think.
nurturing vibe de que queremos a los pacientes and you have a relationship with them.
And you're their friends. I mean, you've
Yeah.
delivered their kids. You've seen them for years and years. You know their life's ups and downs. So it's very different in our situation.
Claro.
And in my case, you know, being medpeds, internal medicine and
She sees
pediatric,
them.
so I see them like growing, and when you're a pediatrician, the children graduate from your office.
Claro.
And usually you
Because-
don't see them again, but she gets
Yeah,
the
but I
privilege of
guess
seeing
it's-
them
you get
the
to
whole
maternal
lifespan.
medicine.
And but we were talking about anti-aging and women, and then all of a sudden we start talking about this.
This
So
is going all
Let's
kinds
go
of
back to
tangents. This is
anti-aging
going all kinds of
and
tangents.
women.
Cheers.
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 Salud. Ahí no está en otra ronda.
Really, thank you.
Oye. And so, I'm fascinated by
let's
that.
talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby. A ver, aquí, ¿qué recomiendas? A ver, tú,
Okay.
maestra.
No, you start.
No,
and
you
then
start.
No, you start.
So a woman goes into your office, and I'm in my 40s, and
Siento como que no. ¿Qué
Que no
pasa?
quiero que no me toque. No, es que no lo hablamos, like we're afraid to talk about it, but then it's like,
I think among
We-
us it's different, you know?
in
You
Latina
know the
culture,
fashion.
yeah, I'm gonna ask
For
if you
sure,
guys are
Latina
open.
culture, I think in general, you're not going to talk to your friends, you're not going to talk to your parents.
You're not gonna complain to your
Pero
husband.
somos más calientes.
But I would say in our
Que se me
situation,
sube el colesterol.
Sí. Thank you, sí. Yes.
So first, I usually start with the physical and history, and then I like to get a lab panel, kind of see where things are at, and then discuss their options.
What are the things you look at when you're looking at that
Gosh,
lab
there's
panel?
just so many. I mean, I get a pretty comprehensive panel, so I'm looking at thyroid, cholesterol, heart disease issues, kidney, liver issues, different things that might bring your either mood down, your energy down, your weight gain up, your sleep not well, or your hormone imbalance. So there's just so many aspects.
A problem with the husband.
Exactly. So sometimes I'm just like,
Oh,
have you tried a new husband? Have you considered a different husband?
Have you considered a different
I literally
husband?
told the patient, no.
You
I went through all my options, and I was like, well,
Oye, qué bueno, qué bueno.
Consider it
Ese va a ser otro tema que podemos discutir
Sí,
luego
we
para
got-
ver cómo encontrar pareja ya cuando estás de determinada edad.
I think when we get to that point, have you tried a different
Like
partner?
I'm going through all my diagnoses and treatments in my brain. I'm just like, well,
I have a psychology friend that used to be in my running body that she would say, you just have to use your imagination and pretend that you have
that's a
different
lot of
husbands.
right?
Sí, sí, sí. Le pones peluca y le cambias el color de pelo.
And I tell people that all the time. I can fix your hormone levels, but I can't fix whatever situation is going on in your home or in your bedroom.
Claro.
You know, there has to be other aspects and other avenues to consider and to fix. So
When you go in and then someone's a regular patient of yours and you begin them on that hormone therapy, the anti-aging, whatever their need is, and 6 months have passed, a year have passed, you see the difference?
absolutely,
Tell me about that.
I've had a lot of patients actually say, "You saved my marriage."
Really?
And a lot of wives end up bringing their husbands because in time, both people's hormones kind of take a dive. And so
Because men get the hormone drop
they
too.
get the hormone drop, but they don't speak about it.
Is that
They
the
are not
andropause?
going to speak about their...
Andropause.
Exactly. They're not going to speak about their erections. They're not going to speak about their sex drive. It's not manly, right?
That's right.
So very few
Ay, que
people-
deberíamos invitar a alguien
Sí,
que
we're-
comparta su historia con
show
nosotros.
3, 4.
Oh, I could,
Sí,
I could have this place full of those
Oh,
conversations.
Really?
They ask him. I have a lot of male, because
Right.
you're a
I'm a
gynecologist.
gynecologist,
I have
so I
a
don't
lot of
see
male
that.
patients, and hi, Dr. C, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you
And
something.
maybe
I
because
have
you're
a
female.
problem, and,
Yeah.
and I say, look, your doctor, regardless.
Yeah,
And they're
regardless.
like, well, I have a... I said, okay, we can fix that. No,
We can fix
no
that.
problem.
We can fix it.
No
How do you
problem.
fix it?
Well, as long as they don't have problem with heart conditions or problem with
Prostate or anything like that.
yeah, you can always like prescribe whatever's in the market without coming to with names, and they're happy, and the wife is happy too,
Yeah.
because
The wife and the girlfriend. No te quedas.
well,
Yes,
but the problem is that the wife also feel like unwanted.
Oh, that's right. The
Okay.
rejection, because they
Yeah.
personalize it.
Yeah.
They personalize
And
it.
the guys are like very quiet about it, and
They don't
just,
share
they
it,
just
yeah.
put their pajama and go to sleep
Exactly.
because they don't want to face
Exactly.
Well,
So-
stress.
Entonces,
they-
para, una pregunta muy específica. Por ejemplo, para los hombres sería nada más una pastillita y que les va a ayudar, pero para las mujeres es hormone
it.
replacement.
No,
I
para
do
los
hormone
hombres
replacement.
También.
hormone replacement.
Ah, ok,
I do
las dos
hormone.
cosas.
The problem with testosterone is going to be a double, because sometimes they can get aggressive, sometimes they can start losing hair. So you have to really balance, and it have to be done by somebody that knows.
Exactly. So
Okay.
you really just don't want to go to anyone doing hormone replacement. That really is a specialization. And anyone can prescribe something or pop a pellet in, and you're going to feel better at first. But what happens when you don't feel good? How do you manage those emotions?
Oh, yeah.
That's difficult. And that's not always well trained.
If there's
Yes.
too much or too
I mean,
little.
you see it with a red face, like walking around,
So
like crazy.
in my case, hormone replacement and pellets in particular were very, very frowned upon in my community, just amongst my peers and colleagues, because patients would come into our office complete train wrecks.
Oh.
Anemia, not feeling good, all kinds of crazy. So that's just something that is not well managed by someone who's not well educated or trained, because it's hard to manage, or it's a little bit more specific to manage a patient who doesn't feel well.
So you always want to make sure that you go to someone you trust and who knows what they're doing.
You have to read
A
your
specialist.
credentials.
Yes. Tell me real
Because-
quick about the credentials. Like,
Because one thing is that you go and you're reading the internet now with social media. Everybody have like so many reviews, are so good,
Right.
but these are fabricated. You have to go and read. Where do they train? Are they board certified?
Exactly.
Do your homework.
I mean, what training have they done? Because with social media, it's like
It's
the-
like your
the
favorite
filters,
person is not
like,
always
like
the
the
smartest.
filters. Like they.
you mean we
everything
don't all
is-
look like that?
Yeah, but the same thing with.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Well,
like
the same
you
thing
can
with-
put filter or fluff on your social media
resume
account,
and
but do they have that training? Do they have that board certification? Those are all important
Yeah.
questions that you need to ask.
It's the same thing with plastic surgery, which is going to be another show because I
Absolutely.
think, well, that's a whole nother show. But we have so many shows to talk about and so many other things to discuss, and we gotta keep getting together.
Y si los dejo porque
Sure, for lunch.
Ya
las
te tienes
dejo
que
porque
ir.
ya me empezaron a mandar mensaje que ya tengo que ir a dar cena a la casa.
Sí, ahora sí, oye. Thank you for the lunch, ladies. It's been
Gracias.
fantastic. Nos
Thank
volvemos
you.
a juntar para
Hasta la
platicar.
próxima.
Hasta la
Get together
próxima.
soon.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.